So in this video we'll be talking about the gameplay of the game of Wally. Here is the opening where the player will spawn and then they can see the open space. They can see that down there on this side of the map is danger, and then there's this open pathway here. So the player would initially try and see what's down here, whether it's for a secret part or to, cheat the mission to get a nice further easy way, but this is actually blocked off, so the player can't make their way down here. So the player would then have to go back, and then they would find the toy laying about in the junkyard, and then what they would do is they would use the toy to bring it forward, and then they would spawn in. When you hover the toy here, it spawns in junk, and then they can use the toy to shoot the junk at these walls, and then these walls will just break down like this, and they will make for a fun target to shoot because they break into loads of pieces, and then they use the toy to shoot in these gaps, and then they bring the toy forward, and then they have to level the toy on the platform here. This platform is not scripted to hold the player, so the player actually has to move across and keep in line with it. Here is another vent, so they can get more ammo to shoot more of the walls. And these walls, again, they're just simple targets, fun to hit because they break into nice pieces. And there's another one here. This is a puzzle where they'd have to shoot junk into the part below, and if you fall down, if the toy falls down here, the toy will respawn back at the nearest vent, which is this one. So then the idea is to get the junk to fall in between here, and then the toy can then be pushed through the gap and then into this wall, so then it can break this wall and then keep moving forward. Here is where the toy needs to be pushed. It's quite difficult because it's at a diagonal angle, and as a 2.5D game, angles are quite difficult if they're not just X and Y and Z. And then here is the last wall that they destroy for another big gap, and then here is another platform where the platform isn't scripted to hold the player, so they have to balance themselves and the toy across, and if they fall down below, the toy would despawn. The block here is more of a trash compactor where it breaks up the trash, and then they have to balance and go under in a time script. This was a puzzle where the player had to shoot the stem of the level, and then the level would fall down. This was the last vent, as here is some stairs of a gateway. It's a gateway that blocks the stairs so the plane can't get through. So then the player would then go around, see, stairs, this is a trash compactor. So they'd go back to the vent with the toy, they'd spawn in some junk, and then they would lead the junk up here and they'd shoot it into this big bin. And as you can see, there is a floor there, so they have to fill the bin up with junk, so they have to keep going back and forth. It was planned for them to go back and forth about 4 or 5 times. So they go back and forth, they get more junk, then they come back up, and then they shoot the toy. The junk could easily be overshot, and then it could easily go over the level, and then they'd have to get more junk. And then once they've got junk, they can jump on it, and then they could go up into that hallway and that corridor. That was the idea of the toy and the level. Those were the designs.